Today's chaotic question: what's the craziest thing you've witnessed at a rich people event? Okay, welcome to the jungle. We've got fun and generational wealth.
Ask Reddit, but every answer gets worse.
I was catering a dinner party where they had a water sommelier. He spent 10 minutes explaining the crisp alpine notes of the $80 bottle of water on the table. It was from Fiji. I watched a man swirl water in a glass and sniff it like it was a vintage wine. I still don't know what I saw.
A water sommelier. Let that sink in. This man's entire career is based on having a more sophisticated palate for the thing that makes up 70% of our bodies. He swirled it. He sniffed it. What was he looking for? The ghost of a cloud? The memory of a glacier? My tap water at home tastes like disappointment and chlorine, and I'm starting to think that's a more honest flavor profile. This isn't just rich. This is a level of boredom so profound they've had to invent new ways to be pretentious.
Overheard a woman loudly complaining about her dog's divorce. Her ex-husband's dog got the Hamptons house in the settlement, so her Pomeranian, Tiffany, was traumatized and had to summer in Aspen instead. Tiffany had her own therapist, apparently.
The dog's divorce? Tiffany the Pomeranian is summering in Aspen as a punishment? My last vacation was a weekend trip to a motel with a questionable stain on the carpet, and this dog is suffering through the trauma of a slightly less luxurious second home? A therapist. This dog has a better mental health plan than I do. This isn't a story about a sad dog. This is a story about how a single Pomeranian has a higher net worth and a more robust support system than 99% of the human population. Justice for Tiffany, and also tax the rich.
At a garden party, I witnessed a woman send back her oxygen. I am not making this up. She complained to the host that the imported mountain air being pumped into the climate-controlled tent was too thin and lacked the appropriate humidity. They had to go get a different tank of air for her. She sent back the air? We've reached a new level of bougie. This is not just a complaint. This is a rejection of the planet's basic services. She looked at the very concept of breathable atmosphere and said, "No, I'd like to see the manager." What's next? Is she going to complain that the gravity is too heavy, that the sun is too yellow? We're all out here breathing the same free public domain air like a bunch of suckers, while these people are getting artisanal, handcrafted oxygen delivered in tanks. They're not just living in a different tax bracket, they're living in a different ecosystem.
I worked security for a gala where the centerpiece of the main hall was living art. It was a man painted entirely in gold, holding a single grape. He wasn't allowed to move, speak, or eat for 8 hours. One guest got drunk and tried to take the grape. The art piece flinched. The host lost his mind, screaming that he'd broken a 7-figure installation.
A 7-figure installation? It's not an installation, it's a human being. A man with hopes and dreams and probably a desperate need to be. And they were going to fight over a grape? This is the most perfect metaphor for wealth I have ever seen. One man's entire existence is reduced to being a living plate for a single piece of fruit, while another man is willing to commit assault to possess that fruit. This isn't an art gala. This is the Hunger Games with more champagne and less dignity. I hope the gold guy flinched. I hope he stood up, ate the grape himself, and led the working class in a glorious grape-fueled revolution.
This guy, Chad, or something equally punchable, brought his emotional support animal to a yacht party. It was a 4-foot-long alligator on a diamond-studded leash. It wore a tiny vest that said, "Don't pet me, I'm working." He fed it whole roasted chickens while it sat on a velvet couch. No one questioned it. I saw it hiss at a senator.
An alligator? Of course it's an alligator. It was never going to be a golden retriever, was it? Ha 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 ha. It all makes sense now. The water sommeliers, the divorced dogs, the custom air, the human art. They're not just rich, they're a different species. They're cold-blooded, they're lizard people. The alligator wasn't an emotional support animal. He was the CEO. He was there to supervise his hairless bipedal employees. They're not human. They breathe different air. They have reptile overlords. This isn't a class divide. It's a species divide. Subscribe before the alligators unionize.